Hello and welcome back to P-10C Talk, the show where we talk about P-10Cs. I'm your host, Jason, and on today's episode, I just want to capture a little bit of data from my return back to competition with my CZ P-10C. Both, how the firearm in its current configuration performed, what that configuration is, and what, if any, changes I need to make to the gear that I shot the match with, right? So, first and foremost, I was in just outside of Evansville, Indiana, at Red Brush Rifle Range for their monthly IDPA match. They were super, super welcoming guys, and even added a couple extra stages, or an extra stage with a couple extra runs, because a bunch of us from my town had come visit. It was really awesome of them, and it was a really great match. Okay. That said, it was my first time coming back to the P-10, and I was using my carry holster, which a modified version of the carry holster. So let's talk about that really quick. This is a C&G holsters. I forget the name of it. I added a little bit of foam to it. These originally came. I think this whole kit came from Spencer's Concealment. They have like a Velcro and Velcro backed foam wedge kit that you can just buy from them, even if your holster isn't a Spencer's Keepers or Spencer's Concealment holster. Keepers Concealment, Spencer Keepers is the name of the guy. Keepers Concealment is the name of his holster company. He also instructs, right? So you can Velcro on these pads and give you, enough distance from your body or a little comfort on any holster hot spots that might be pressing into your body. It's got these, I think these are Ulti clips, branded Ulti clips. No problem with the holster per se, but I'm not a super fan of the mag pouch that I use. This is a Dark Star Gear. I got this on recommendation of my friend Ramiro, who a couple things about Ramiro. He's a fantastic shooter. He's fit and he's young, and he recommended these. I am borderline one, or maybe sometimes, depending on perspective, two of those things, but but I didn't like this so much. A little bit of of a retention device in my midsection for appendix carry that was pushing this thing sideways on my belt, right? So I'd put this around my loop, and I'd have to put it around my belt, this loop around my belt, and then I had to also kind of weave it through one of the belt loops on my pants to keep it from just going crazy all over my belt. And this was pivoting. So another, I don't know what to do to fix this. The other thing is that I ordered it this way, and I might have ordered it the wrong way, but this portion here, I would prefer if it were, rather than at my leg or towards my leg, if it were towards the center line of my body, so that when it moved, it wasn't like digging into anything. And maybe there shouldn't be anything there to dig into, but I haven't found a comfortable way to use this. It might be the best way for me to state this. There's nothing wrong with it. It's adjustable for depth, which is really a great idea, I think. I don't know, maybe it's this sort of like loosey-goosey belt loop that I'm not a big fan of. This was also, I need to trim it down if I'm going to keep using it, because I'd go to grab it and I'd pinch that at the same time as I pinch the mag. So that definitely needs to come out too. And maybe if I can, I might just move this whole operation down a little bit too, so I don't know. I just wasn't super much, I wasn't like a lot. This wasn't a great experience for me. And reloads for appendix carry, I'm still super rusty on. I'm not the fastest draw from appendix either, but I do dry fire that from this holster, because I carry, I carry with it. And for the most part, the draws were, acceptable. They weren't perfect, but they were acceptable. A little more work there is definitely going to pay off, I think. But that's it for the gear, right? The holster and the mag pouch. I have my other configuration. You probably saw this on my Beretta you may have seen it on my Beretta, is a tier 1 MSP holster, which indexes off the Surefire. And I could have used that if I wanted to hang a Surefire off the front of this thing, but I didn't, and I don't. So I've got a tier 1 holster on the way for this configuration, right? Specifically for a P-10C with a TLR 7X. and it has, you know, why I'm even mentioning this holster. Let me grab it really quick. Is because I found myself preferring this sidecar attachment for the magazine, and it keeps it in one place that you can bank on, and I just generally prefer that. As far as losing the sort of height adjustment, I can adjust it here, but then there's this leftover leg that I might have to get rid of if I end up doing that. But anyway, so I have a tier 1 holster coming that has this sort of, you know, sidecar might be actually a trademark of a different holster company or whatever, but you get what I'm saying. It'll have this attached but not a fixed magazine pouch. I suspect that I'll enjoy that more. All right, now to the nitty gritty, right? Which P-10 or what configuration of P-10 did I shoot? So this is my typical IDPA carry optic slide, or my intended to be typical slide, with one minor change. Because I was shooting factory ammunition, and I was shooting this MagTech, this is empty box, by the way. I try not to keep ammo on my table, but I wanted to show you the box that I was using. 124 grain, 9mm Luger brass cased MagTech. And it was a little hot. Even through my ported 4-inch slide, it was still right at 1,100 feet per second, anywhere between 1060 and 1,100 feet per second, which is well above power factor for carry optics and IDPA. It needs to be 125 power factor, minor power factor from USPSA, very similar, right? But because I was getting enough recoil, the thing was moving pretty good. I ended up, instead of going with the NDZ Performance guide rod that came with it when I had the porting done from Southwest Precision Arms, I'm using the DPM system's recoil system, or DPM recoil system. And I had originally bought this for use on my other carry optic slide because I wanted to have a 2-stage or a progressive recoil spring to reduce the harshness of being on a reciprocating slide to my SRO, my other SRO. Now, I think it did a great job at that, but I was running it with hand-loaded ammunition with its lowest power recoil spring. So on the system, you can change the spring here, and they're rated by length. So I think the longest one is the most powerful recoil spring, although I don't know what it translates to as far as, you know, a traditional, you know, like Tony Systems spring or whatever, or like this ISME, you know, 15-pound spring, ISMI, ISME, whatever. So I don't know what the poundage rating on this external, on this larger spring is, but I'm running the strongest spring with this ammunition through this ported 4-inch CZ P-10C barrel, and it ran pretty well all day. Occasionally, if I wasn't, you know, bearing down on the gun, the dot would leave the window. Ideally, when tuning a gun for competition, you want to try and reduce the dot movement as much as possible during under recoil. So, you know, you can pick where on the target you want to engage the trigger a little more easily. So keeping a gun flatter allows you to, you know, keep moving the gun a little bit faster. But this wasn't unbearable, obviously. I managed to do pretty well in the match. I won carry optics division. I finished in the top 3 overall. It wasn't a huge match, obviously. It was just a tier 1 club match, but really great shooters over there, great people in general. So I had a positive outcome from my first time returning to the P-10C platform and my first time shooting a red dot in both of those things in 6 months. All right, so moving down to the frame, and I've got a couple of quick videos coming out about the upgrades that I've been, you know, engaged in so far on this frame. But this started out as my P-10 SC frame, bone stock. I added the Taylor Freelance brass backstrap, again modified to accept the Tony Systems magwell. This is the full width version. They don't only have one version, but the version on my other gun I've belt sanded down, if you don't recall. I added the HB Industries or the CZ Custom EXT extended mag release, and then I added the Overwatch Precision trigger. I have not added the extended slide release from CZ Custom, nor have I added the Apex disconnector. So as far as the firing mechanics, and I've got a video I'll show you, but essentially dropping the trigger in didn't change the weight of the pull, but it did change the characteristics of the pull a little bit. It's much better than the stock trigger, and it's more comfortable for aggressive and prolonged use. So that's the frame I used, and then obviously, the slide had the DPM Systems recoil over a Southwest Precision Arms ported barrel. I've got the Overwatch Precision striker with an HB Industries red striker spring in there. And that's that. It does also have the aluminum Apex backplate, so I can use this slide on an Apex disconnector frame. That's not present here. Again, overall, everything was positive. The gun ran smooth, even with the fairly hot ammo. It does, just in general, oh, that didn't work. It does, in general, favor hotter ammo. Ported guns will always favor, let's see if I can get this to come back apart. There we go. You really, when you put these things back together, especially with these recoil systems, you need to make sure that's seated very nicely in the divot in the barrel, or you get like a little odd behavior sometimes. Anyway, I greased it up a little bit. I'm gonna have to do some cleaning here in a minute. Positive outcome with the current configuration of my CZ P-10C IDPA carry optics setup. Now, how this will differ from my USPSA carry optics, USPSA limited optics setup, is I'll have to use a slide without ports. But mostly I'll be shooting IDPA carry optics for the near future. And if the tier 1 holster setup doesn't show up sooner rather than later, there's a chance I'll revert to the Beretta for the big matches coming at the end of July and then the middle of August, because I really did have some struggles with reloading, and that holster's not necessarily going to fix them, but being able to guarantee where the magazine's going to be as you're going through a course of fire is pretty important for having a successful reload. Knowing those index points and being able to rely on something being there becomes a critical element of success, in my opinion. Now, what's next? For this firearm, nothing. I'm going to clean it up, but I'm going to run it like this. Hopefully my powder measure will get back from Dylan soon in a fashion where I can set it back up and start tuning ammunition and recoil springs assemblies for that ammunition and get this shooting exactly like I want it to. That's going to be a long-term experience. For the short term, I'll be shooting probably this Magtech 124. It was pretty reliable, and I have no reason to not shoot it. Reliable and available, so I'll take it. And performance-wise, this thing was good. End analysis: getting rid of the EXT slide release was great. I used it the other night. I fired both guns the other night just to see how the behaviors were with the ammo I had available, and I decided that the extended slide release, with the way I'm gripping the gun now, was responsible for some failures to lock back. And so going back to the stock slide release eliminated that concern whatsoever. I did have a slide lock reload that was a no-brainer. I had no problem getting the slide forward, so I think I've outgrown the need for that piece. And the lack of an Apex disconnector didn't really cause me any problems either. I was very accurate on the day. 8 stages, 5 down. My speed could be better, and I didn't need to have those 5 down either, to be honest with you. But that's good shooting. So stick with it in its current configuration for now. I'll reevaluate that if I continue to have some throttle control issues with my own trigger. Right now, I'm going to assume that's 100% in my head and in my grip. But that's it. That's the report. Good day at the range. And, any day at the range is usually better than a day not at the range. If you get me. You get me? I guess that's it. I'll post a couple videos of some of my better performance or maybe a super cut of some of the great engagements that I had today. I'll leave out anything that didn't go as planned, because honestly, I want to forget those and start focusing on the things that went well and try to do more of that. But if you have any questions about how the gun ran, put it in the comments. Again, please like and subscribe. It's the only way we can get everyone to understand how great P-10Cs are. Well, it's not the only way, but it's one of the best ways to tell the world how great P-10Cs are. And I'm happy to be the guy to help get that accomplished. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, shoot straight, and I'll see you on the range.